You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
No, it's not your imagination. Risk and regulation really are ramping up, and these days, customers expect proof of security before they'll even do business. That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta automates your compliance process and brings compliance, risk, and customer trust together on one AI-powered platform. So whether you're getting ready for a SOC 2 or managing an enterprise governance risk and compliance program, Vanta helps keep you secure and keeps your deals moving. Companies like Ramp and Ryder spend 82% less time on audits with Vanta. That means less time chasing paperwork and more time focused on growth. For me, it comes down to this. Over 10,000 companies, from startups to large enterprises, trust Vanta to help prove their security. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. Cloud platform Vercel confirms a data breach. Microsoft releases emergency updates to fix Windows Server restart loops. Blue Sky gets DDoSed. Insurers keep close watch on an AI hiring discrimination suit. Cybersecurity workforce turnover rises. Scammers abuse Apple's email notification system. A Scattered Spider member pleads guilty to SMS phishing and cryptocurrency theft. We've got your Monday business brief. Our guest is Melissa K. Smith, Senior Vice President of Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives at SentinelOne. We're discussing building a unified defense through strategic partnerships. And a budget beacon briefly betrays a boat's bearing. It's Monday, April 20th, 2026. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here today. It's great, as always, to have you with us. Cloud platform Vercel says attackers accessed internal systems after a third-party artificial intelligence tool's Google Workspace OAuth application was compromised. The company reports a limited subset of customers was affected and services remained operational. CEO Guillermo Roche says initial access followed a compromised employee Google Workspace account tied to context.ai, which allowed attackers to enumerate environment variables not marked sensitive. Vercel has engaged incident responders, notified law enforcement, and confirmed Next.js and other open-source projects remain unaffected. Environment variables can expose credentials or configuration data, increasing downstream risk for developers. Vercel is urging customers to review variables and rotate secrets as investigations continue. Microsoft has issued out-of-band updates to address Windows Server failures triggered by the April 2026 security updates, including restart loops affecting domain controllers. The company says some Windows Server 2025 systems failed to install a recent update, while others running domain controller roles entered reboot loops after local security authority subsystem service crashes. Microsoft released an update to resolve both issues on Windows Server 2025, with additional fixes for restart loop problems across other supported versions. The company also warned some systems may enter BitLocker recovery after installing the original update. Authentication infrastructure outages on domain controllers can disrupt enterprise access and identity service, requiring rapid remediation by administrators. Decentralized social platform Blue Sky says a distributed denial of service attack disrupted core services for roughly 24 hours last week. The attack began on April 15th and caused intermittent outages affecting feeds, notifications, Threads, and Search. Blue Sky reports no evidence of unauthorized access to private user data. A group calling itself 313 Team claimed responsibility, though that claim has not been independently verified. 313 Team claims to be a pro-Iran hacktivist group. Sustained DDoS activity against social platforms highlights ongoing availability risks, even without data compromise. A U.S. court has allowed a discrimination lawsuit against recruiting platform Workday to proceed, raising broader questions about who is liable when AI systems make decisions. The case follows claims that Workday's recruiting software rejected applicants based on age, which the company denies, stating its tools do not make hiring decisions and evaluate only qualifications with human oversight. Major insurance carriers are increasingly declining or restricting cybersecurity and errors and omissions coverage tied to AI systems used in business operations. Industry observers say some insurers are excluding claims related to AI-generated outputs, while others are raising premiums or declining to cover AI vendors altogether. Underwriters are also asking more detailed questions about how organizations govern AI use. Experts cite limited visibility into how AI systems generate results as a key concern affecting insurability. Reduced coverage could shift more operational and legal risk onto organizations deploying AI, forcing security and risk teams to strengthen oversight, governance, and disclosure practices to maintain policy protection. Only 34% of cybersecurity professionals plan to stay in their current roles, highlighting rising retention challenges as responsibilities expand faster than budgets. A survey of more than 500 practitioners in the 2026 Cybersecurity Talent Intelligence Report from IANS and Artico Search found growing workload pressure, declining job satisfaction, and uneven compensation across roles. Experts say CISOs faced increasing accountability for resilience and regulatory outcomes despite flat budgets. At the same time, organizations are demanding stronger offensive security skills, red teaming, and AI-enabled defenses, while automation shifts hiring toward specialized roles such as AI architects and governance leaders. Escalating expectations, AI-driven workload growth, and burnout risk could weaken defensive capacity unless organizations improve compensation, training pathways, and governance support for security teams. Scammers are abusing Apple's email notification system to send phishing messages that appear to come from the company's legitimate email domain. Victims receive alerts about a fake $899 iPhone purchase and are urged to call a support number to cancel the order. Attackers reportedly manipulated Apple ID account fields to embed phishing text that triggers security notifications, then distributed those alerts through mailing lists. The goal is to persuade victims to share sensitive information or grant remote access. Trusted brand infrastructure can increase phishing credibility, making callback scams harder for users to detect. A British national has pleaded guilty in a U.S. court to conspiracy charges tied to scattered spider intrusions that stole at least $8 million in cryptocurrency. Tyler Robert Buchanan admitted conducting SMS phishing campaigns that sent employees hundreds of messages linked to credential harvesting sites. Prosecutors say the stolen credentials enabled access to corporate systems and sensitive data, including personally identifiable information and intellectual property. The group also used SIM swapping to intercept multi-factor authentication codes and access victims' cryptocurrency wallets. Authorities previously seized devices at Buchanan's residence containing victim information and seed phrases. The case highlights how coordinated phishing and SIM swapping remain effective for bypassing authentication and targeting both enterprises and individual crypto holders. Turning to our Monday business brief, cybersecurity firms secured at least $14 million in new funding last week, while several acquisitions highlighted growing investment in AI security, observability, and compliance services. AIM Intelligence and Capsule Security each raised $7 million to expand AI-driven security offerings, while Mallory and Provoli announced additional seed funding rounds with undisclosed totals. Meanwhile, Cisco says it plans to acquire AI observability firm Galileo to strengthen Splunk observability cloud monitoring across AI agent development. Other deals included Fortrium's acquisition of Cover.ai, iCounter's purchase of Parse Intel, Control Case's acquisition of Cyber9's, and Virtual IT Group's purchase of SecurityCentric. Funding and consolidation activities suggest continued enterprise demand for AI governance, threat intelligence, and regulatory compliance capabilities as organizations scale security operations. Be sure to check out our complete business briefing that is over on our website, and it is part of CyberWire Pro. Coming up after the break, my conversation with Melissa K. Smith, Senior Vice President for Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives at SentinelOne. We're discussing building a unified defense through strategic partnerships. And a budget beacon briefly betrays a boat's bearing. Stay with us. Quick question. Have you watched Project Hail Mary yet? Humanity is facing an existential threat and racing to solve it with the clock ticking. For security teams, that probably hits close to home with AI use rapidly spreading. Everyone's using AI, marketing, sales, engineering. Chris the intern without security even knowing about it. That's where Nudge Security comes in. Nudge finds shadow AI apps, integrations, and agents on day one and helps you enforce policy without blocking productivity. Try it free at nudgesecurity.com/cyberwire. Maybe that's an urgent message from your CEO, or maybe it's a deepfake trying to target your business. Doppel is the AI-native social engineering defense platform fighting back against impersonation and manipulation. As attackers use AI to make their tactics more sophisticated, Doppel uses it to fight back, from automatically dismantling cross-channel attacks to building team resilience and more. Doppel, outpacing what's next in social engineering. Learn more at doppel.com. That's DOPPEL.com. Melissa K. Smith is Senior Vice President of Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives at SentinelOne. I recently caught up with her at the RSAC 2026 conference for this sponsored Industry Voices discussion about building a unified defense through strategic partnerships.
Endpoint is never going away. Tomer talked about it yesterday, so did George Kurtz. Compliments to him on that, what's old is new. And so I think people really need to think about their modernization journey and what's important to them. And it starts at the endpoint, it evolves to the SIM. Then we can power things from an AI security perspective and go from there.
And we're coming to you live from the RSAC show floor. It is 2026, and I am pleased to be joined by Melissa K. Smith. She is Senior Vice President for Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives at SentinelOne. Melissa, thanks so much for taking the time for us.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
How's your week so far?
A whirlwind, right?
Yes.
Like everybody else. Like I don't think anybody is saying it's been really boring. This is my 17th RSA, so wow. Dating myself, but I think the innovation coming out of it and the AI hype is super real and important.
Yeah. Well, so your position, and I want to get it right, you are the Senior Vice President for Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives. Can you give us an idea, what's the breadth of things that come under your your command?
It's a lot. It's like three kind of very disparate things. But from a high level, last year we celebrated crossing $1 billion in revenue. Huge chasm from a company perspective. We see these strategic partnerships on how we get to $2 billion. So a lot of investment, a lot of focus there to drive what is important to the company, but also bring novel and unique partnerships back to customers through the market.
The first billion's the hardest,
the
right?
First billion's the hardest, right? And now 2 in 18 months, that's the stretch goal. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but on top of that, I lead our traditional technology partnerships and our integration ecosystem. And then I'm responsible for our OEM business. And then we have a global relationship with Lenovo, where our endpoint is bundled into the hardware. And so, small but mighty team, but very happy to be here.
And you're reporting to the board as well? Do you have that function?
Yeah, so my boss is the chief operating officer, which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
And our most important partner is the board of directors.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So working off of a press release that you all put out recently, you all announced an expanded partnership with Level Blue, which formerly that was AT&T Cybersecurity. Yep. And Tomer talked about organizations not needing more controls, they need more outcomes. Can you unpack that for us? What does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, our partnership with Level Blue is so pivotal and cornerstone to who we are as a company. They believe and they trust in us to take what is their goal to be the world's largest MSSP. And we thoughtfully looked at how can we operationalize and help them modernize the acquisitions they've done over the course of the last 12 months. And so we're helping power that transition from kind of legacy technology to more modern SIEMs. So our AI SIEM is the backbone of now what they will lead with from a services standpoint. So that's huge. And that's an honor, right? But Tomer is absolutely right. Our foundation as an autonomous company, nearly 13 years ago, really, I think, sets the expectation of how we use AI smartly and how we leverage it with our partners.
Well, you mentioned AI, and here we are.
Everybody, right?
Right.
If it was a drinking game, have a drink.
If it was a drinking game, we'd all be dead.
Yeah.
I know you partner with Google Cloud,
yes.
And that's an important component as well in the AI world.
Sure.
Again, unpack that for us.
Well, full disclosure, Google is part of my heritage. I was part of the Mandiant acquisition. So, my family is still historically, proud to be incident responders and focus on threat intelligence. The mission is the most important thing. And our trust with Google has allowed us to really stay focused on the mission and operationalize, everything from cloud to security, but leaning into they're the world's third largest company, right? And arguably the smartest out there from building AI. And what better story to tell to our joint customers and our partners that we are strengthening our partnership with a multi-year commitment.
What about multi-cloud? Making sure that even though things are spread out around the world, you sort of have this notion of a single brain.
No single enterprise is, singular focused on one cloud. So multi-cloud is super important. So is data sovereignty and having the ability to have on-prem, which we have, which is truly a differentiator. Keep your data where it needs to be. And so our expansion with Google Cloud is, multifaceted, but the emphasis around sovereignty and making sure that we can give those customers and partners in region, especially in EMEA, where it's super critical right now, that protection is why we chose the most secure and sophisticated partner out there.
And what does that mean to your customers to have that strength and that partnership? Top tier level names.
I think that better with is just what everybody needs. We've talked about better together for so long, but I think the answer back to our customers is it's better if we all do this together, if we're all rowing in the same direction, especially when it comes from a security standpoint. The attackers are more sophisticated these days because they can weaponize AI. They're now infiltrating, as we've seen what the North Koreans did last year by becoming employees. Amplifying our partnership and our relationship with Google, I think, signals to the market that we are hyper aware and we are going to stay vigilant and make sure that our customers are the most secure and protected.
What is your approach or your insights into where we stand right now when it comes to AI as it applies to the work that you all do?
It's a great question. I think we could probably answer that in 15 different ways. But I think right now we just need to stay hyper aware about how we're training those models, right? And then again, what the attackers have in their tool set, we need to stay ultra combative and on the offense. I mean, red teaming is now more important than ever. Offensive cybersecurity, not just proactive, right? The bad things are happening all the time. If you're not already breached or popped, you will be, right? They're already there. I mean, with all due respect to those nation-state enemies that we have. So I think, again, it's you have to think of it also as like almost the consumer lens. Like, how is AI affecting my personal life? Because it's definitely affecting your professional life.
I want to highlight a couple of the partnerships that you all are emphasizing here. We're talking about companies like Level Blue, Eon. Of course, we already talked about Google. I'm curious, when you look back over the past few years, we mentioned $1 billion that you just crossed that threshold. Even in the past few years, tremendous growth. As you look back, how do you think about the journey that you've been on?
The partner ecosystem is super critical to what we do. It's like foundational, and I think it's very like cliche and kind of cheesy to say we're a partner first company. We really are, right? Because again, we're $1 billion in revenue with only 3,100 employees, so that's pretty significant. So we really have to lead on our friends, like from a channel, from a technology, from an MSSP perspective, and then that growing kind of partnership capability with incident response firms and cyber insurance. To really double down and be force multipliers. The growth has been tremendous, and I had the ability to be a fangirl from SentinelOne on the outside, working for Mandiant and Google, so I had a good 5-year kind of opening to like what my life could look like at SentinelOne. And I think the opportunity is really optimistic. Like, there's a lot of FUD out there, and I try to like keep that out of things. Endpoint is never going away. Tomer talked about it yesterday, so did George Kurtz, compliments to him on that, what's old is new. And so I think people really need to think about their modernization journey and what's important to them. And it starts at the endpoint, it evolves to the SIM. Then we can power things from an AI security perspective and go from there.
In your own introspective moments, how do you measure success or the types of things that you're doing day to day?
My boss would, kill me if I didn't say obviously revenue, but that is like a piece of the puzzle, right? I think most importantly is, especially as we look at like heightened geopolitical standpoint, like the mission is the most important thing, right? Like the money will always follow the mission. If we do the right thing, if we're collaborating, right, like with our partners in global governments, all of this will come together. But I mean, foundationally for me, that's the most critical thing, is making sure that everybody is safe and we're defending, proactively and effectively.
As you look towards the horizon, where do you suppose we're headed here? Do you have a sense of our outlook?
You turn on the news and the outlook can be pretty grim. So I try to look at it more like, how would I like to have this conversation with my family? Educate them so we can educate the community. Is the power we have at an industry event like this does bring the best and the boldest minds together, and we need to nurture that, right? And we need to make sure that those organizations that have these smaller booths here are getting that recognition so that we can amplify them up through the enterprise, because we are only better if we have a partner first and very mission-centric strategy.
Yeah. As a woman in the industry in a very high-level position, what would your message be to that young woman who is either just getting her start, coming through school, or maybe considering a career change? Any words of wisdom based on the journey that you've had?
Yes, I think about this a lot. I'll get emotional, so apologies. I have a son graduating in May. He's 22, and I think of all the times that I thought I was failing, right? I think you have to get rid of that, and don't be afraid to fail. There really is no wrong answer. We can fix anything. So, I mean, it's a lot about just staying grounded, and what personally connects you to your job will professionally motivate you. My why, I wake up every day and I have 2 sons. And right, I have one getting ready to go off in the real world. So I think about that constantly and consistently and just try to model like what I want him to have from a happy life.
Yeah, all right. Well, Melissa K. Smith is Senior Vice President of Global Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives at SentinelOne. Melissa, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
That's Melissa K. Smith from Sentinel-1.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
And finally, Dutch journalists tracked a deployed Dutch Navy frigate for about 24 hours after mailing it a postcard containing a Bluetooth tracker, exposing an operational security lapse. According to regional broadcaster Omroep Gelderland, reporter Just Vervant used publicly available Defense Ministry mailing instructions to send the tracker to HNLMS Evertsen while it was supporting France's aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. The device showed the ship departing Heraklion, Crete, and moving towards Cyprus before officials discovered and disabled it during mail sorting. The ministry now plans to ban greeting cards containing batteries and review mail procedures. The incident shows how inexpensive consumer tracking tools and open-source information can unintentionally expose sensitive military movements, a reminder that small conveniences can create outsized visibility risks. The Navy found the tracker quickly, but the postcard had already delivered its message. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. Don't forget to check out the Grumpy Old Geeks podcast, where I contribute to a regular segment on Jason and Brian's show every week. You can find Grumpy Old Geeks where all the fine podcasts are listed. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. N2K's lead producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our contributing host is Maria Vermazis. Our executive producer is Jennifer Eiben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.